Hey, leadership community. I wanted to pass along three things to you with regard to the last leadership community and the follow-up meetings that we've talked about that are considered advanced commitment events for you. That whole idea that Gary talked about at the leadership community about leaders stepping first and leading the church forward. But first, I wanted to thank you for being a part of the last one. That was a really meaningful time. Your participation says a lot. The feedback has been positive. I'm very encouraged about how this is shaping up as not only a faith step from the leadership community, but a message to the rest of the community about where God has us and where God is pushing us and how we are compelled to go there. And I don't want you to underestimate the value of your commitment and involvement in that process. It's critical. That was a great night. And then this last Sunday, the celebration, the 10th anniversary, absolutely could not have been better. I was so proud of the church. I was so excited about remembering where God's brought us and what He's doing with us. I don't know if you realize this, but when we asked people to stand up, a whole bunch of people, maybe a third of the people in there had been there less than a year. That's amazing. And what's even more phenomenal is they were getting a picture like they probably haven't had yet in their first year of something bigger than us and bigger than them that's going on that they are a part of or have an opportunity to be a part of. And that is really, really cool. Back to the leadership community meeting and the intention for us to gather in smaller communities to ultimately make our commitments from a financial point of view for the next 2 years. We've been talking together and the community pastors and the strategic leadership team, and we can't come up with a compelling reason that we wouldn't gather all together again to make those commitments. A lot of good things could come from the local community meetings, but there's something about doing it together that is very compelling. And so we would like to suggest a new future there. Instead of 3 separate dates where you might meet as a campus, that we would gather again together in about 4 weeks on February 21st at the new Worthington campus and take this step together. One final thing, I want you to take a degree of personal comfort from these words. We're all considering what our part is in what God's doing at Vista. And it's not a matter of compelling you to do something, anything. It's a matter of prayerful, thoughtful consideration about what God is placing in your heart to do. No one's going to ask anybody to take a step or to commit to something that they haven't got resolution in their own mind and heart and in the relationships that are critical in their lives, whether that's your spouse or friends or family or whatever. What we want to do is allow you the opportunity over the next 4 weeks to find that space of peace with God and that space of faith. Here's what's exciting, and I know I don't have to go into great detail with you. If the leadership community, on the whole, individually, are compelled to take a step of faith, if we can look at one another and say, yes, the financial commitment and the time commitment and the energy and the emotional commitment that I'm making for the next 2 years requires faith. Imagine what God can do with that. A leadership community compelled together to take a step of faith together and lead the church down a step of faith. You know you're going to end up, maybe I'm overstating that, you are more likely than in any other scenario to end up where God wants us in spaces that we wouldn't go on ourselves when we do it from a posture of faith. And the whole idea of that and then doing it together, that would be awesome. So let's do it. Let's join together on February 21st and make these commitments. In the meantime, be praying. A lot of information and process will be able to happen through the sermon series over the next 2 or 3 weeks as well. And then let's get together and take a step of faith a few days ahead of Commitment Sunday with the whole church. I think that would be awesome. Let's do it. Love you. See ya.